10 years into our marriage, Ethan looked me in the eye and said he'd found the love of his life. He called her pure, the kind of woman who didn't care about money, said it like a compliment and a verdict. My chest tightened, waiting for the version of me who would cry, bargain, or beg. But she didn't show up. Instead, I chose silence and action. I finally understood what had always been true in our home. Whoever controls the resources controls the reality. Ethan had lived comfortably inside a life I built, while quietly resenting the hands that held it together. That night, I stopped pleading for kindness and started deciding what my future would allow. I didn't scream. I didn't threaten. I simply noticed how quickly his certainty relied on what he assumed I'd never remove, and that realization made my voice steady. I often think back to the woman I was before this marriage. I was raised with comfort and clear warnings from my parents, warnings I ignored because I believed love could outweigh struggle. I supported Ethan's career, stabilized his family, and built a business that carried us all. I worked late not because I had to, but because I wanted him free to succeed. I never kept score. I never demanded thanks. Over time, though, I learned something painful. Sacrifices given freely are often noticed the least. What I built became invisible, so familiar it was mistaken for something without value. When he called me materialistic, it felt like watching someone insult the air they breathe. I wasn't asking to be worshipped. I was asking to be seen. The foundation I laid, the easier it was to quietly forget it existed until gratitude turned into entitlement. I chose the old university pub for our anniversary because that was where everything began, not with wealth, but with hope. 10 years earlier, we had celebrated there with borrowed chairs, simple food, and rain-soaked shoes. Going back wasn't nostalgia alone. It was my quiet way of asking whether those years still mattered to him. I didn't want diamonds or applause. I wanted recognition. I wanted him to look at me and remember the girl who believed in our promises. Walking toward that familiar door, I carried a gift and a fragile hope. The place that once marked our beginning became the cruelest place for the truth to surface. When betrayal appeared there, it didn't just break my heart. It rewrote my memories. I realized some locations hold love like a photograph, and when the picture is torn, you mourn both the moment and yourself too. I didn't see them at first. I heard them. Laughter, then a voice I had trusted for 10 years. Ethan's. He spoke with a tenderness I hadn't received in a long time. Laura was young, a student, and as I listened, my disbelief turned cold. They weren't just flirting. They were planning a life. He promised to handle her tuition and her family problems, as if those promises came from thin air. I knew the truth. The money came from my work, and even the opportunities carried my name. That's when betrayal became more than infidelity. It became moral failure, using generosity as a weapon against the giver. Strangely, I didn't panic. I felt clarity. Pain sharpened my thinking instead of clouding it. In that shadowed hallway, my hope ended, and my detachment began. I understood I couldn't fix a man who benefited from breaking me daily. When I stepped into the room, the illusion collapsed. Ethan's confidence vanished, replaced by panic he couldn't hide. He praised pure love while living off money he claimed to despise. He spoke about dignity, yet he was exploiting power and trust. Then he turned to me with contempt, calling me cold and materialistic, as if my effort had been a personal insult to him. I didn't raise my voice. Calm unsettles people who expect tears. While they scrambled for excuses, I observed. I saw a man who wanted independence without responsibility, romance without consequence, and comfort without gratitude. In that contrast, something shifted inside me. I was no longer reacting. I was evaluating. The betrayed wife stepped aside, and a strategist took her place. I realized my emotions had been used as leverage for years, and refusing to perform them was my first real advantage. Then his mother and sister arrived, and the pattern became undeniable. Instead of shock or shame, they brought accusations. They told me a wife should tolerate, adjust, forgive. If a man strays, they said, the home must be lacking warmth. Listening to them, I finally understood the system I'd been living inside. Every sacrifice I made was redefined as obligation. Every time I stayed quiet, it became permission. They defended Ethan not because he was right, but because my support kept them comfortable. Their morality moved wherever the benefits had moved. In that moment, this stopped being a marriage problem. It was a family built on entitlement, feeding on patience and generosity, and it was starting to collapse. Once I saw that clearly, I stopped negotiating with it. You can't heal what depends on your silence, and you can't belong where respect is optional for them. I didn't lash out. I acted. One by one, I reclaimed what had been taken for granted: accounts, funding, access, and the protections I had arranged. I made calls, sent instructions, and separated what was mine from what they treated as theirs. I did it carefully, within lawful boundaries, because boundaries only work when they're enforced correctly. For years, my resources had been used to excuse disrespect and reward dishonesty. Ending that arrangement wasn't cruelty, it was correction. Power feels harsh only to people who rely on it without respect. I wasn't trying to ruin anyone. I was removing the cushion that made betrayal feel safe. When someone tells you they hate what you provide, the most honest response is to stop providing it. That's not revenge, that's reality. And in that quiet withdrawal, I finally protected the part of myself I had been giving away. Without my support, everything unraveled faster than they expected. Their proud speeches about values disappeared the moment comfort disappeared. Bills piled up, tempers rose, and blame replaced loyalty. The woman who claimed she wanted only love began demanding stability she no longer had. The family that preached unity turned on itself, each person guarding their own survival. Ethan's professional image couldn't withstand scrutiny once backing was gone. Whispers spread, doors closed, and respect evaporated. Poverty didn't create new flaws. It revealed the ones that had always been there. When resources dried up, so did patience, kindness, and restraint. Watching from a distance, I understood something that still matters. Character isn't proven in comfort. It's exposed when support is removed and excuses stop working. That mirror was brutal, but it was honest. They learned too late that dignity can't be financed when integrity has been spent. The legal process brought everything into focus. Documents replaced arguments and timelines replaced excuses. Misuse of resources, broken agreements, and professional misconduct weren't opinions anymore. They were facts on paper. The man who believed intelligence alone made him untouchable discovered how quickly reputation collapses without integrity. Meetings happened, questions were asked, consequences arrived in quiet, official language. Watching it unfold, I felt no thrill. I felt certainty. Accountability isn't revenge. It's the natural result of choices being examined in the light, and the light is impartial. It doesn't care how convincing someone sounds or how many times they claim good intentions. It measures what was done, who benefited, and who was harmed. That clarity gave me peace because it meant I didn't have to argue for my reality anymore. In the end, the truth didn't need my anger to speak. It spoke through evidence quite clearly. Today I don't define my ending by loss but by clarity. I learned that love without respect becomes self-erasure, and generosity without boundaries invites exploitation. Walking away wasn't failure, it was dignity. Peace didn't arrive overnight, but it arrived the moment I stopped trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding me. If this story resonates with you, take this with you. You are not required to disappear to keep others comfortable. Real love doesn't demand silence, sacrifice, or shrinking. It grows alongside accountability, honesty, and mutual care. Choose relationships where your effort is recognized, not used. Choose homes where your voice is safe, not punished. And if you're rebuilding, start small. One boundary, one day, today. Thank you for listening. If you value stories about truth, resilience, and quiet strength, please like, subscribe, and share this channel. Your support helps more people feel seen and reminds them they're not alone.